In this daily drop, I'm going to continue to talk about my adventure with green screen, generative AI, and the like. So let's go. All right, everybody, here we are with the second episode of the Daily Drop this week, and I am continuing down this path of starting to figure out where I want to go with virtual production in a small crew situation, and it's all about baby steps. I'm also kind of in the weeds getting ready for this upcoming Steadicam Access production I have this weekend, but I am kind of flip-flopping between the two and getting the job done. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this green screen, and I'm going to go ahead and populate this with a background. I also am going to just blur that a little bit. You can see I can get kind of crazy on that, or I can turn it off completely. I'm going to just dial that in a little bit, somewhere around there for the time being. And this background and the other ones I'm going to be showing you were all created with generative AI. It is both a liberating, exciting, and also frustrating process. I said both, all three of those things. Let's just say that. And I'm going to show you some different backgrounds and sort of the thought process here. And just so you know, this is just a panoramic background from Manfrotto. It's skinned with their green material. It's about 13.5 feet wide by about 7.5 feet high. Works great for this type of shot, a little bit wider. Definitely could do a cowboy on this. The green screen, I'm going to say, is about 10 feet away from me, and I'm cross keying it with a couple of 2-foot Pavo Slim tubes, and that's all that's basically happening. Are they called Pavo Slim tubes? Well, they're called Pavo tubes. The Pavo Slims are the panels. All right. A lot of stuff going on here, but that's how I'm basically doing it. I'm cross keying, and then I just have a regular key light and the normal kicker over here. And so generative AI, again, pretty frustrating. Right around here in the shot, there was, from the generative AI, a light stand with a light and barn doors that was kind of sticking into my head. So I went into Luminar Neo and just used a little generative AI erase tool to just take that away so it wasn't doing that. And what I want to do is show you some backgrounds. And by the way, I'm not using any fancy stuff right now. All I'm doing is coming from the FX30 into my laptop with one of those old Camlink 4K USB, HDMI to USB, whatever you call them. You know what I mean. They're just, I'm bringing in the HDMI signal from the camera. It's converting it and allowing me to see that and access it in different apps. I'm using Ecamm Live, which I use for my live streams. It has rudimentary keying capabilities, and I've dialed it in to about as good as it's going to get for what I'm doing right now. And I spent couple hours today going through and generating some different backgrounds. I'll show you some, and then we'll go back to the one I've settled on, just so you can get a sense of some of the different ones that I was messing around with. And, you know, part of the frustration is perspective and making it match the way you're setting things up. And I plan to dig into this a little bit more. This one is a little ridiculous, obviously, a little crazy, and it's dialing in your prompting. A lot of photorealistic, cinematic, studio space, so on and so forth. And hopefully it's not showing you the same one more than once. I'm just kind of going through the list here and hoping that Ecamm isn't going too crazy. There we go. We're kind of back. If you saw a repeat of any of them, I apologize, but you get the basic idea. And then I am blurring that background a little, and I have a black fog filter on my FX30, which is just trying to put a little bit of, I wouldn't say haze, but a little more atmosphere in here, so it's matching just slightly better. I don't think it's selling it perfectly yet, and I don't think that this environment is completely photorealistic, but it's working-ish. in terms of what's happening, and not bad for just playing around for a couple of hours today to kind of start to dial this in. What's the long game? The long game is that I can generate 2.5D at least environments that can have parallax using a green screen setup like this and do some virtual production. I'm really hoping that doesn't require me to jump into Unreal in a big way. Hopefully not at all. I do have this wish that I've had for 2 to 3 years that somebody would come up with essentially a standalone app, a game, whatever it is, where I can generate environments and I can do this without having the brain bar that is oftentimes necessary for virtual production, especially when you're walking into a volume type environment. This is not virtual production. I mean, it really isn't. It's just green screen with backplates, but it is the process I need to go through, especially with generative AI and working that stuff out, so that I feel I can get to a place where we can do this with small crews and do it in a way that we can sell what's happening. So there's a lot of stuff that has to get done. First of all, or lastly, I want to thank you for all of your comments from yesterday's episode, where I was talking about my pet peeve of looking to camera and then having another camera where somebody is looking off camera and that disconnect that happens. Keep those comments, keep that feedback, that engagement happening on the channel. It really means a lot. I try to catch up with those comments as quickly as I can. I'm a little bit in the weeds right now with this upcoming production I have at the end of the week going into the weekend, but I will get to those, and I do read all of the comments, all of the feedback. All of that engagement is really important to the community that I think is existing and will continue to expand here on the channel. I got through that. All right, don't forget to, and I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Drop.